Hey, the modern mystic, Nick. I agree with you. I think belief systems in that sense is shit, and being an ist of some sort can mean that. But what you're really complaining about is dogmatism. Okay, you're complaining about people that take their ideas dogmatically. A skeptical system is not that way because in skepticism, specifically Pyrrhonistic skepticism, as opposed to nihilistic academic skepticism, we assent to evidence. We will not assent to anything that is not evident, but we will assent to evidence. Therefore, no system is sacrosanct against the presentation of new or contradictory evidence. Doesn't mean you have to give up the system right away, but you do have to figure out a way to take it into account. And that's a non-dogmatic way of having a system. And in that case, it's just a description. I mean, if somebody was to say you're a causist, because you believe in causes. I mean, there's a dogmatic way for you to hold that belief, and there's a non-dogmatic way for you to hold that belief. And it really does come back down to whether you're doing your own thinking or you're trying to let somebody else think for you. When somebody gives you the new evidence, do you think for yourself, or you just give some canned answer that was actually prepared prior to the new evidence? So I think that's the distinction, and that's the distinction that's at the foundation of my philosophy too, because there's a strong distinction in skepticism, in ancient skepticism, between the dogmatists, like the Stoics and Epicureans, and the Platonists, and the skeptics. As well, another distinction between them and the nihilists, skeptics that somehow believe they do know one thing, which is that nothing is known. The Pyrrhonists did not say that. What they said is that nothing is known absolutely, but we can assent to evident facts. And I think it's easily drawn from that since as living beings, we're constantly getting new perceptions, we're constantly getting, or potentially getting, new evidence. The skeptic is prepared for that. So a skeptic that describes themselves as a realist, or as an idealist, or as anything, does not make an assertion that that's the way it's always going to be, nor are they making an assertion they fully understand the category they place themselves into. They don't necessarily fully understand what it means to be a realist necessarily. They're investigating the meaning of that as well. And that's very distinct from a dogmatic approach to knowledge, where that category truly defines your identity, and you will not want to change it because you'll have to change your sense of self-identity. Skeptics do not invest in systems in that way. We invest in them more like somebody buys tools for their workshop. There's good tools. If one breaks, we don't use it. If one doesn't work in a particular situation, we get some other specialized tool, maybe another general tool that can do the special job and the job of the first tool. And we're constantly in flux with the tools we're using and what we believe, and therefore the labels that are appropriate for the kind of analysis we might be doing, if there even is a label for it. Often, of course, there is, because we repeat patterns of logical processing, both patterns we've displayed before and patterns other people have displayed. So yeah, it's a much more dynamic way of describing yourself, and suddenly you can self-ascribe again because you're not pinning yourself down as if you'll never change your mind. You are merely describing how you feel at the moment.